speaker, Himanshu Mehta. Welcome. He'll tell us about hacking telephone system.
Good afternoon, everyone. I didn't hear. Good afternoon, everyone. So, today I'm going to present my topic on hacking telephone systems for fun and profit. I just want to mention one thing, like we found many security vulnerabilities in different PBX vendors and we have reported them back. So some of the vendors fixed it, some of them did not. So I'm going to present only the security vulnerabilities which have been fixed by the vendor, and I worked this along with one of my colleague called Sachin Wag, and we also tried to explore different possibilities to get access to PBX systems using Shodan and Synsys. So we reported a lot of vendors, but some of them don't even care. They don't reply. So some of things are still open. You can go and try out. So let's start. So this is about myself. I am leading the security intelligence team at Symantec, India, and I am mentor of at Niti Aayog, that is by Indian government. I am mentoring some of the schools, primary schools in India, and during my leisure time I do bug hunting, pen testing, and some of my own security research. Apart from that, I have spoken at several security conferences, like this was National Cyber Security Conference, Info Security Europe, which was in London. Besides Scotland, OFFZONE, I'm speaking here. Hack in the Box, I'm going to present in Dubai after 2 weeks, and HackOn, that is in India, and Hack in Paris. So apart from that, I am the advisory board member of EC Council. You guys might have heard about license penetration tester. So I'm just trying to make it more challenging for the students to crack it. And apart from that, I am contributing on some of the topics, and I am the board member of Convert IT and Current. So also I am the program committee member of Dubai and Toronto International Conferences, some of them. So he is my colleague with whom I did this particular research. So let us start now. So this is the agenda of our today's talk. I'll be speaking about some of the telecommunications fraud, telecom hacking. I'll just show you the graph, how it happened in the past, and then we'll discuss about some PBX and the security vulnerabilities related to that. So you can see this was published in New York Times in 2018. So there was an architect firm based in Norcos, GA, and they got a bill of $166,000 just in a single weekend. So they were really terrified and they wanted to know. So their IT team actually worked very hard to figure out that it was actually being, the telecommunication network was located in Gambia, Somalia, and the Maldives. So their CEO was what? So they were not aware about cybersecurity program, and after that they implemented a lot of things within the company. So you can see like telecommunication fraud is still on rise, okay, and you can see so many $38.1 billion as fraudulent charges by 2016. I don't have the current data, so this is old data. So I'll just show you in graph. So this is the reason why we chose PBX hacking, because it has the most fraudulent loss was happened due to PBX hacking, that is around 3.93 billion. So after that you can even explore some of the areas like IP PBX hacking, that is VoIP, which is second most known frauds in USD billions. Then there is subscription fraud, which is application based, dealer fraud, subscription fraud, again then identity based, service abuse, account takeover, and then subscription fraud, proxy based. So these are pretty easy to actually explore. Okay, so it's not difficult. If you just give some of time, you can find a lot of vulnerabilities in them. So there are two main kind of hacking that we discovered in telecom, which is very prominent nowadays. One is user authentication, and you know how it is difficult to brute force for the people who are using username as user and password as I love you, for example. And then another one is SIP toll fraud. So this is one interesting attack. So what happens in this kind of attack is like attacker tries to phish the user using SVP records. That is simple records provided by the PBX companies. Okay, and so they will try to scan the SVP records for video enabled web domains, and then using video enabled domains found in the first step, the hacker will direct a bot. They will create a bot to place an audio call to a known phone number. So this is the way they try to do SIP toll fraud, and it's really difficult to trace back. Okay. So let's talk about now private branch exchange. So PBX, it stands for private branch exchange. It is mainly used for incoming and outgoing calls within the company, organization. So they use for internal communication as well as external communication. And these PBX systems are comprised of softwares as well as hardwares. And you will see that those will be connected to the communication devices like routers, switches, and obviously the telephone systems. So it's in all the organization, and any organization you are working, or whether it is government organization, you will see the PBX systems everywhere. Okay, some of the common features in PBX, I'll not discuss in details. I'll just you can go through that. Call forwarding, transfer, conference calls, which is happening every day in the organizations. Then voice messaging, call queue, etc. So let's move to our first search area. So we started with Shodan search. You might have already aware about this particular search engine. Okay, so it is a search engine that let the users find a specific type of devices connected to the internet. So what we found, so we tried to search for this NCS software OFFZONE virtual PBX. We just took random PBX names. Okay. So this was one of the NCS software OFFZONE virtual PBX, and you can see like top countries like United States, the result is showing 11, which is actually open, and we can see, go and explore. Okay, then there is Iran, Philippines, Serbia, and etc. Then you can see the top services that they are using. First one is SIP. SIP is very common nowadays, and there are some top organizations. So even you can go and explore, like you can click on that particular IP address, and sometimes you can even get to their admin console. That I will showcase in the coming slides. So see, one of the IP address we clicked, and what we got is call details records. So you can see the number of calls that have been made and on which particular date. You can see the graph is more on the 2nd of some particular month, and you can see the summary of those calls, like 15 total calls have been made, and what were the average calls per hour. Okay, so then we use census. Census we use for free PBX administration search. Like you can go get the access to the admin console. Okay, so you can see here there are so many autonomous systems and IPv4 hosts. So you can just click on them and get access. It's so simple. So you can see this is the metadata that we have found, that US has the host, the maximum number of hosts here, and autonomous systems. You can see there are different autonomous systems for each and every countries. Okay, so let us see the first demo of Shodan. So here you can see the Polycom plus command plus shell. This is the query we gave, okay, to get the shell access to the Polycom. You know, it is a famous vendor providing the video and call facilities. So I will just click on random IP address, and voila, you can see what are the ports that are open on that particular IP address. And then see, no credentials required. You can directly get the console access, admin console access. And you can imagine, like, if you can get the get to the utilities admin settings, what else you can do? You can even edit those settings and try to configure the IP address or whatever it is. Yeah. So while doing our research, we also figured out that FTP was very prone. So we tried to get access to some of the FTP using FTP ports. Like this is the pbx_test.txt. This is a malware file created by us, and then we try to upload this on particular website. Okay, just to test like whether it does perform the job or not. We were successful in getting the access. And by that we got the call details record. So, and you will be really surprised how easy it is to get the call details, and you can listen to those calls. Like some of the calls were in some different language that we cannot interpret, and we are trying to decrypt that. But some of the calls were about discussing about their usernames, IDs, and some passwords resetting, and sometimes even the credit card details. So you know what else you can do with this particular information. So we also try to explore more SMB. Okay, so we are here in this particular slide, we are trying to access the SMB share with anonymous login. Okay, and you can listen in this particular thing also, like people talking about their credential information. So this is very important slide for us. And this is the folder that we got access audio records. You can go and see each and every day you will find many audio records. Like companies are keeping the records, whatever you are making calls from the organization. So, and while working across this particular topic, we came across this showdown. You can go and try out. This is still active. So, if you go do this, like you can easily get access through port 23, and the gateway is through password. Okay, so those are default credentials, and you can get to the admin console using these also. So let's talk about soft phone. It is very important to understand soft phone to further understand the topic. So soft phone is nothing but a piece of software that allows the user to make telephone calls over the internet. I'll just give the simple definition. Okay, so let's discuss about the vulnerabilities that we found and have been patched by the vendor. They have also received the CV numbers, so you can go and explore. So we tried on different PBX vendors. So first one is Trixbox. Just give me a second. So the first vulnerability we found was blind OS command injection. So are you guys aware about this vulnerability? Yeah. So it's very basic one, but it's difficult to identify. So it is a technique. This injection vulnerability is a technique used via web interface in order to execute OS commands on a web server. So it's very simple. Like you just need to execute the commands on OS web server. Okay. So what user does is user supplies the operating system commands through a web interface in order to execute those OS commands. Okay. And the vulnerable application, like in this case Trixbox, does not output the results of the injected command. So we'll see in that in particular demo. So let's see. So this is the Linux, and we are just trying to get the internal IP address. And that is the main PBX Trixbox. We are using Burp Suite to intercept the traffic. Is it visible to you guys? So we'll just see how it responds, whether we are actually able to listen to that or not. So see, I have given the Kali Linux internal IP address. voila. So we are able to use this OS command injection on tricks box. So you will see more results will be coming. So now whatever you will be doing, whatever command you will be giving on the tricks box, we can easily intercept on this particular terminal. Just let it slow. Okay, I think this is stuck. This is GIF. So we can listen on all the commands. Okay, we can execute the commands. Okay, then another vulnerability which is very common is path traversal. So it what this particular vulnerability does, it allows an attacker to access files or directories. Okay, so attacker, he tries to manipulate the URL, to get the access to the web server and execute or reveal some kind of confidential information that is lying on the web server. So you see, this is the path traversal demo. Okay, so we again intercepting through burp suite, and you can see here the command. Okay, so you can see here, okay, the particular, this is the ID and this is the Ajax argument, whatever you can intercept here. Okay, so we are trying to execute this path traversal here. You can see percentage ampersand 2t ampersand 2t, like that we are trying to manipulate. So this is the affected parameter. Okay, so you can see like we are getting access to, we are getting access to all those kind of files using the path traversal. Okay, and then this is the favorite one for all the bug hunters. So XSS is everywhere, nowhere, no matter how many times the vendor tries to protect it, but you will eventually find it, figure it out. Okay, so this is very common vulnerability. So we tried this again on Trixbox, and you can see here. So you can see here the affected parameter, and we are trying to inject our query over here. Okay. So another PBX we explored is OFFZONE. Okay. Here also, this is the first thing that we always try. You can see the cross-site scripting we tried on auto dialer. Okay. So this was the affected parameter. So now our main motive was to gain access by exploiting some kind of vulnerability. So the users might be running with default credentials, but that might not have the admin access. So our main motto was to get the privileged access to that particular PBX. So we tried so many things, but we were not able to exploit it. But finally, we got one DLL injection vulnerability. Okay, you can see. I'll just show you the demo. First, this is the process monitor tool that is free by Microsoft. Okay, so what we are doing here is, you can see this particular. This is the PBX setup. Okay, so when you install any particular .exe file, it comes preloaded with the DLL libraries, that is dynamic link libraries. Okay, so using this process monitor tool, what we are trying to do is like we are trying to explore these DLL files. What are the DLL files that are being loaded from the default directories? Okay, so in this particular case, we just took the example of proxies.dll. Okay, so instead of the, you can see here the proxies.dll you can explore if you try to find the library here. So instead of the original proxies.dll, we created our own malicious DLL. Okay, and what that DLL was doing was able to execute the code and open the calculator.
Himanshu, sorry, can you speak in microphone?
Sure.
Because the translation will work.
Oh, sure.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So you can see here we created the malicious DLL which was executing the code to open the calculator. Okay. So this was our first task. We were able to succeed, and You can see after executing the code, we try to gain the privileges using Metasploit, and we were able to do that. So we were able to escalate the privileges. So if you are able to escalate the privileges, even if you have default user access within your organization or any other organization like partner organizations, you can imagine you can get the admin access also using these kind of vulnerabilities. So now the main question is whether you followed the mitigations or not. If you really follow the mitigations, yeah, you can have beer on the moon. Okay, but there will always be security vulnerabilities, but at least you can relax for some time. I'm not telling forever. Okay, so these are the particular mitigation techniques that we have suggested to few of the government throughout the world. Okay, and we have reported these to several governments also. I cannot take the name here. And so these are the basic things which each and every organization should follow. So first thing is very important is policies and procedures. So you can see here like security training, which is now the preliminary. It is very prominent in all the industries. Everybody needs to have this particular security training, whether you are working in a security domain or you are developer or tester. Okay, so this is the pre-requirement. And then there is a password policy. So many organizations will suggest you to change your passwords frequently, like every 6 months. But that is not only the password policy that we should follow. We should also follow to, try to keep the complex passwords instead of the simple ones that we are using everywhere. And it should be unique one each and every time. Then there should be incident response procedure. So you might have seen the cases in the past about WannaCry ransomware. So if now all the companies are trying to have their incident response team, which is good for us as a security researchers, because if such kind of incidents come like WannaCry, there will be a team who can look after that particular incident. If there is no team, you can imagine the business get impacted for so many weeks. We don't know, and how many loss the company can incur, we also don't know about that. So another important thing is OS level security, that is the patches. That patches are recommended for operating system, applications and services. Why services we have included? Because nowadays most of the people are using cloud. Yeah, so they are using AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. So those web services are very important, play a very important role. So we need to keep watching our services, whatever we are using, whether it is getting access to some other different resources or not. We have to keep a particular watch. And then privileges, like I showed the demo of that particular application. So you can see that getting not only maintaining the access, but also we should be able to give the privileges to the minimum level. Like a normal user should not have the admin privilege. For example, in AWS, you will see there will be one group of developers, like 10 developers are there, they will have similar kind of roles. But instead of providing them the similar kind of roles, you can provide only one particular developer the full privileges and other 9 the normal privileges, user privileges. But because you don't know, some of the developers might be careless or they don't even know, and they might try to play with that, and they keep some kind of ports open and you can get access to that particular port. So these are the common mitigation techniques. So that's the end of the show. So
Sure, thank you very much.
yeah, any questions, you are most welcome.
Yeah, doesn't have any questions? Вопросы есть у кого-то?
No questions? I hope you guys understood at least like what was the motive, right? And it's easy, you can even try out these particular things, and we are going to provide the slide to them. You can have access to that, and you can always access through Shodan or Census and try to explore these particular. This is very wide area, and still a lot of organizations, they are not aware about this. Thank you.
Thank you very much again.